Police were dispatched immediately to the scene. None were prepared for what they encountered that day. Lanza had become a hunter, stalking his prey, but his targets were innocent, defenseless 6- and 7-year-old elementary school children. 9:34 to 9:40 a.m. Sandy Hook Elementary. It is unclear whether Adam Lanza entered classroom 8 or 10 first. In the span of 6 minutes, he would fire 154 rounds from an AR-15. In classroom 8, the police would find 14 children dead, and a 15th would be pronounced dead after being taken to Danbury Hospital. 1 child survived, exiting after the officers arrived. 2 other adults, substitute teacher Lauren Russo, 30, and behavioral therapist Rachel Davino, 29, were also killed. The gunshots came from the same .223 caliber ammunition of an AR-15 rifle. At some point, Lanza entered the other classroom and began targeting more victims. 9:40 a.m. At this point, for reasons we will never know, Adam Lanza decided to stop the killing. He dropped his AR-15 rifle with its Magpul 30-round high-capacity magazine to the linoleum floor in classroom 10. He then pressed his Glock 20 SF barrel against his head, just under his chin, and pulled the trigger. The 10mm hollow point round did what it was designed to do, penetrating his skull and tearing through his cerebral cortex, killing him instantly. In less than 6 minutes, Lanza had killed 26 children and adults in an atrocity unparalleled in American history. He had meticulously planned and written about his intentions in the hours, days, and months preceding the day's horror. Lanza studied Sandy Hook's website and the school's security procedures, and had mapped out the massacre with obsessive detail. Investigators would later note that he had long been on a path headed toward a deteriorating life of dysfunction and isolation. The report on the shootings went on to say that his severe and deteriorating internalized mental health problems, combined with an atypical preoccupation with violence and access to deadly weapons, proved a recipe for mass murder. In other words, this was no random event. He had been preparing and planning this unspeakable tragedy for years. Lanza was found dressed in a pale green pocket vest over a black polo shirt. Everything else he wore that day was black. His t-shirt, sneakers, gloves, socks. All but 2 of his victims had been shot multiple times, execution style. 6- and 7-year-old boys and girls were shot point blank. The only explanation I would have later is that it was an act of pure evil. 9:57 a.m. New York City. I was with Wally McClellan, the guy who originally set up the Freedom Group with Cerberus CEO Steve Feinberg, and my girlfriend Coco at Wally's flat about to jump on a call. Wally suddenly signaled to me, "Hey man, I just saw there was a shooting up in Connecticut." I responded, "I hope it's not a bad one. That's all we need." I spent the next few minutes flipping through the media rundown, Drudge, CNN, Breitbart, MSNBC. This is not good. Turn on CNN. I hope he didn't use an AR. That was always the first question on the checklist we worked through when one of these shootings happened. Given my job working with Cerberus, it was the first thought on my mind, the first thought on all of our minds, something that would haunt me for years to come. The next 45 minutes was a flurry of phone calls, and the calls confirmed just how bad the news was. The Sandy Hook shooting was the one we all dreaded at Cerberus and at the NRA. Wally had spoken with Chris Cox, chief lobbyist at the NRA, and he was already gearing up for battle. Just got off with Cox. It looks like the gun was possibly an AR. He and David Lehman figure mag bans, background checks, maybe even an assault weapons ban will be on the table. A total shit show. The intensity, the rush of going into crisis mode was oddly intoxicating. The day would be a slurry of death, politics, guns, and money. And like it or not, I had a front row seat. I called Tony Macris, who was Wayne LaPierre's longtime advisor. He told me, "Get ready. This is going to be the mother of all gunfights. It's really bad."